him, and they are indeed. So for those kind of applications, they are asking for who you are, just throwing everything at us, and then we pick in what we are interested in about you. Does that make sense to you? So I think I've said so much about CV. So that's the first assignment to everyone here. So if you have developed a CV before now, go back to that CV, update it, and then I will share my email address. Send your CV, the ones that if you want me to go through them, send your CV to me, your updated, the most updated CV about yourself, send it to me, and then I will make comments about them. Is that all right? So that's your first assignment, and that's a bonus for, for those of you attending this webinar. And then there are some common errors that people make in CV. Your CV can be very rich, interesting, and engaging. But if your CV is filled with spelling errors and grammatical constructs, it could be an issue with the person that's going to be reviewing your CV. Do you get that? So, and now technology has made it very easy for us to format our CV and to make to correct any spelling error or grammatical blunder that might be in our CV. If you've heard, how many of you have heard of Grammarly? If you know that you are aware of the application Grammarly, just type in yes in the chat box. The application Grammarly. So just type in yes in the chat box. Very good. Yes, very good. Yes, very good. Yes, yes. We're expecting more. Yes. Yes, that's good. Yes. Very good. Yeah. So Grammarly is actually a popular software now. So not unlike when we just graduated, right? So don't throw out any app you have passed them through either Grammarly. It's even better you pass it. It's very good you do that, because you know what that saves you. It saves you okay, it actually places you above some applications that will be sieved out at the initial stage. Because what happens is that when applications get to reviewers, they look at some applications are not readable. They are very rich, but they are full of grammatical blunder. The person that's going to be reviewing your application don't have that time to be trying to make sense of what you are saying. Is this what she's saying? Could it be this? No. So you save yourself from that kind of being that kind of position. Does that make sense to you? So, and then poor formatting too. I want to believe that every one of you here know how to use your Microsoft Office applications very well. If you have not done that, one of the package which as an undergraduate you should be very good at, and you should, if you have not done that after this webinar, know how to use MS Word very well. I mean, every toolbar, know what you have on every toolbar, how to do produce a very decent table, how to produce. So just know how to use a PowerPoint, a presentation, how to prepare a good presentation. So go and learn how to use Microsoft Office packages. Go and learn how to use them very well. So if you have learned how to do that, formatting will be an issue for you when you're applying for anything. You'll be able to format. Now, Grammarly won't format for you. That's one thing you should know. Grammarly won't say, this should be in 3 paragraphs. Grammarly won't tell you, okay, this should be a font, the font size should be 12, should be double life spacing, which should be justified, this should be centered. Grammarly won't tell you that. Grammarly would wholly correct grammatical error and point out some and suggest some particular some possible alternatives to you. Does it make sense to you? So you also need to know how to format. How do you format a document and produce a very good, a top-notch document of international standard? Those are things you should also plan to do now. Is that all right? So then you should also make your profile as much as possible original. What I've discovered over the years is that I also made that error, is that you go online, there are a lot of formats online, a lot of websites where you have CV formats. So what people do is that they download CV format and they just edit it and they send it. Or sometimes they just look at some CV formats. They've given some CV formats particularly mention certain words, and some people even go online, CV templates for applying for lab technician role. And it's true, you see them online. So you just see these templates pop up, and then you see this CV format comes up for a lab technician role. So what the person does is that to the person, he or she thinks is intelligent, right? Is smart. So you just remove the names they put there, and so you throw it out as your own CV. That's an error. You shouldn't do that. So what you do is take the template, look at the things you can adapt, and then make it personal. Yes, it's good. We are in information age. There are a lot of information. Even some of the things I'm telling you now, if you go online, you see more. And this is what I expect you to also do after this webinar. Go and make more research about what I've talked about. Is that all right? I love that. I want us to do that. That makes you a better student. And my Bible says that we become better than our teachers. That's how to become better than our teachers. When you're able to go out and make researches about what they have taught you and add flesh to the skeleton that they have just given to you, right? So, but even though those templates are very good, don't commit the error of just lifting those templates and just editing it to suit yourself. No. Yes, because by the time you are given that job, okay, most jobs, most internship, they have interviews. They invite you to interviews. And what they have done is that they have gone through, especially, out of thousands of applications, they've sieved it to like 50 people. So those 50, they have taken their time to study your CV. Or if it's an essay, they've taken their time to study your essay. So they are looking forward to asking you some personal questions about certain things you have inputted in your CV or in your essay. So you don't want to commit that error or give that first-time impression about yourself that you are not original. Does it make sense to you? Originality pays all the time. Originality. I tell people that all through the time I was applying for scholarship, Commonwealth scholarship, Chevron scholarship, I was original. There was a time I was tempted. A friend of mine said, no, why not, instead of applying for public health, apply to education, come to education, get a course in education. Yes, because I am passionate about education. I said, no, I know what I'm looking for. And by going to education, I want to be too original. I want to take things here and there. So be original. Do not lose your originality in developing your CV. Does that make sense to you? And what that does also is that if you are original in developing your CV, when an opportunity comes to develop a resume for an application, for instance, it becomes very easy to go and lift whatever that is suitable to that position, and then you apply. And then don't make it too long. Even though I've said that you throw as many things as possible out there in your CV, don't make it too long. There's a way if you have 10 years experience working as a nurse, there's a way you can still summarize all of that in 2 pages. Does it make sense? Of 3 pages, and it's still going to be very rich. That the person that is reading your CV want to read more. Does that make sense to you? I've seen CVs some CVs are 20 pages, especially in the academia. You see some that are 50 pages. And the truth is that some of them are the first 2 pages. You don't have things that are very, very catchy, interesting. So it is at the 16th page or the 17th page that you have things that are really very, very catchy about their experience and their achievements. You see the disadvantage of not making things very lengthy. You need to just throw things, first 2 pages, those things that will be very catchy, and then every other thing can come later. And then don't exaggerate your skills. I know what I'm talking about, especially as Nigerians. You don't need to lie. What you are not, don't say you are. Do you get it now? if you go to my LinkedIn profile, it is what I am that you will see there. You will not see anything. Yes, there are things I would know, but everything you see on my LinkedIn profile, for instance, there are things I've achieved, there are things I've done. There are things I did with my own hand. There are conferences I attended. If you see there that I presented at any conference, it's true that I presented at those conferences. Do you get it? So you do not need to exaggerate your skills, your capability, or whatever. Just present yourself as you are. Do you get that? I have a friend that got Chevron scholarship. The first time she applied, immediately she left NYSC, she applied and she got the scholarship. Yes. So it depends on what she wrote. There was something she wrote that was of interest to the reviewers, that she was able to pass through 4 stages: long listing, short listing, interview, and then 4 stages. And for almost a year, very rigorous application. There was something she wrote that caught the attention of the reviewers, that somebody that had been applying for 4 years didn't write. Does it make sense to you? So be original. Don't exaggerate your skills and capabilities, and be focused. Focus on your key achievements. Focus on your key achievement. That's very, very important. I just hope that you are really flowing. Okay, so type in the chat box if you are with me and you're really flowing with this webinar, with what I'm presenting. Just type in yeah. So can you type in, just type that in the chat box if you are really following. Okay, yeah, brilliant. I've just seen 4 here. 1, 2, okay, I've seen 5. Okay, no. Sorry, I spoke Yoruba. Yes, so interesting. So I can go on, right? So let's move to the next slide. I'm having issues with my slide. A moment, please. Okay. Okay, let's do this. So I think I'm having issue with my slideshow. Let me just work with this first dashboard. So personal statements. Personal statement. The first bullet point is that your personal statement must be personal and not generic. That's why it's called a personal statement. So you must note that statement. Yes, it's good to want to quote what Bill Gates said. It's good to want to quote what WHO said. But those should only add, they should be like add flesh to the bones. Do you get it? Like the first starting point should be what is personal to you. You are passionate about One Health, for instance, or you are passionate about how our animals are treated. Start from you as a person. Why are you passionate about it? And then let for instance, what WHO has said, no, not WHO now, what any of these international organizations or somebody prominent in that field has said about what you are passionate about, just add to what you have just said. Do you get it now? But don't tell me you are passionate about this just as because this person said this. No. Do you get it now? There must be something personal, and why you are having a personal drive for that thing. And then whatever external source, facts, and figures you want to add to it, it should just be an additional to what you want to say. Does it make sense to you? So we can have 10 students still quoting the same quote by Bill Gates, or the same quote by Tedros, the WHO Director General, or the same quote by Iwejewela Abi, or the same quote. You can have 10 applicants or 20 applicants or 100 applicants quoting the same thing. So that doesn't stand you out, right? So what is personal about that particular thing that you want to talk about? And then you can then make that quotation just a build up to what you have just said. Does it make sense? So make your personal statement personal. And then there are questions your personal statement should answer. If your personal statements haven't answered those questions, you have not put up a good personal statement. the first question is, what do you want to study? I just put study there because I'm studying. I'm more of the study type for now. Or what do you want to, what job do you want to apply to? Do you get it? What internship? You can replace that study with internship, with job, or with what scholarship do you want to apply to? The second question is, why do you want to study it? For instance, if it's study, I want to study public health, or I'm studying public health presently at the University of Manchester. Okay. As at the time I was applying to Manchester, my personal statement is, I want to. So I always like to make sure you have something like papers around, something you can just write. So don't start your application by typing. Start your application by brainstorming, critical thinking. There are no two ways about it. So what you need to do is, first, you don't start by typing. You start by writing. You take a time, it could be 1 hour. Just sit down. And then keep writing. Not just one. You can write 20 things on this paper, right? And at the end, you are just taking 3 out of it. The best 3 are the things you are writing about. Does it make sense to you? So you sit down. What do I want to study? Okay. At Queen Margaret University, for instance, they have a course called, they don't have public health, but they have public health and health promotion. That's the course they have. It's different from Manchester that has public health. Does it make sense to you? So if you want to apply to Queen Margaret University, for instance, and you want to apply to University of Manchester, you would not just use the personal statement for Manchester directly to Queen Margaret University. You still need to make some researches about public health and health promotion at Queen Margaret University. What are the modules that they have that may not necessarily be in the modules offered by University of Manchester? Does it make sense to you? And so that helps you to be able to answer the question, what do you want to study? Do you get it now? So what do you want? So in all of this, you need to make research. There are no two ways about it. You can go online, you can meet people that have alumni of those places, or if it's an internship, who are those that have applied for those internships before, or who are their present interns? And or if it's a job position, who are those that are working with that organization and the likes? So you do your research to answer the question, what do you want to study? Because sometimes we just have it in our head, I want to study this. And then when you go online and then you want to apply, you may discover that there's a difference. There might be differences between what you have in mind that you want to study and what they are offering. So you may be writing from the standpoint of, this is what I want to study. But eventually, when your personal statement gets to them, it is a bit different from what they have to offer. Does it make sense to you? So there must be that connection. So it's not just enough to know, I have this in my head, I want to study robotics, I want to study. Eventually, when you go to that university website or whatever and get the modules and all that, it may be totally different from what you have in mind. Or what you have in mind may just be maybe 1% of what they have to offer, or may be totally deviating from what they have to offer. So you don't just start writing from what you want. You also make research about what they have to offer. Does it make sense? So the same thing with a job, the same thing with an internship. Does it make sense to you? Yeah, and there are avenues to do that, their website and the likes. So that's talking about your past, what you want to study. Then why do you want to study it? And that's purpose. That's why it's called a personal. They also call it a statement of purpose, right? Why? Why do you want to study it? There must be a reason why you are looking forward to study that course and not any other course. Why not, if you want to study public health, why not global health, for instance? Public health and global health have something in common. They are close, but they are not the same, right? So you must do something about that. Does it make sense to you? So why do you want to study that? Why do you want to apply for that internship? And there's an expo. There's an hint, especially for most of applications. Most applications, before being put out, they already have those reasons, those kind of criteria they are looking for. What that scholarship is meant for, the kind of people it is meant for, their objectives for that scholarship. Do you understand? They put that thing out. For instance, the Commonwealth Scholarship, they have their vision, the mission, they have the things they are looking out for. So you should now streamline what you are saying to what they are saying. Does it make sense? So if you ask, if for instance, the reason why you want to study it, I want to study it to stay in, I don't want to stay in Nigeria again. I want to work in the UK. Yes, I want to work in Manchester. I want to work in their public health England. I want to work in public health England. I just want to. They say, okay, no, this one is not a candidate for Commonwealth scholarship. Because if to them they will be saying that if this candidate did some research about Commonwealth scholarships, he or she should know that one of their criteria, what they are looking forward to is that after your study, they want you to come back to your country, your own country, and develop it and do something good to your country. Apply what you have learned. So even if you have that in your mind, listen, I'm not saying that most of us don't want to travel out. I'm not saying that. I know most of us want to travel out, and many of us don't want to come back. Many. But the truth is that you don't want to tell them that. I'm just talking about scholarship. I'm trying. So the webinar today, you discovered that I'm just going around. So you just be picking your own points. So there won't be any webinar that's the slide that's talking solely about scholarship. No, you won't see that. So I'm trying to bring everything on board as I speak to you. So you don't want to tell them that. You do want to tell them that you are coming back to apply the knowledge you've gotten. You do want to tell them about how the knowledge you are seeking to get is applicable to a particular issue, a pervasive issue in Nigeria. For instance, erratic power supply. If you are in the engineering field, and the sciences, does it make sense? You don't want to tell them something that has to do with Boko Haram or how that helps you to. So that appeals to their emotion. That appeals to the reviewer. Does it make sense to you? So why do you want to study what you want to study? Why do you want to apply for that internship? So you can just apply it to whichever opportunity you want to apply for after now. Then how do your skills and past experience, very important, prove this? Somebody wants to apply for biotechnology. Okay, somebody wants to apply for animal science, and the person never had an experience around animals. No experience at all around animals. I'm telling you the truth. Yes, it's possible. God can work miracles, but it's extremely difficult. I'm serious for you to have that kind of, because what do you want to tell them? Do you understand? And these are people that are animal scientists. There are quite a number of people that have had experience around animals for years that are applying for the same position that you're applying to. Does it make sense to you? So I'm not saying you can't apply if it's a management position, for instance, that's overhead. So that covers quite a number of species, right? But you want to apply something that has to do with animals, and you've never touched an animal, you have never done anything, or you even ate animals, or perhaps you even mentioned it in your application. That's on the lighter mode. So you do want to connect your skills and your past experiences to what you're applying for. You need to prove it to them that if there's anybody they want to give that opportunity to, you are the person. Do you understand that? And then have a strong, catchy introduction. Your introduction needs to be very catchy. And that's if your introduction is very catchy, you have done a 50% job of catching the attention of of sustaining the interest of your reader. Do you understand? So you do want to take time when you are, like I said, when you are developing your AC. Take your time to develop that 3 sentences or 4 sentences that will sustain the interest of your reader. You don't want to start telling them stories. That's what I've seen. You can have a narrative format for your essay. You get it. You can be in the story. Okay. Okay. That's all right. So now, and okay, I was talking about having a catchy introduction, right? When you sustain the interest of your reader, what you have done is that the reader would have an emotional attachment to what you are reading. You get it now. So there's a way your reader is able to come into your world? When from the beginning, the reader is saying, wow, okay. You see, so but from the beginning, if your essay is boring, for instance, you are just putting up data, statistics from WHO. We do that a lot. We do put all of those. It's good. But the question you want to ask yourself is, by reading this, there are some facts you put out there. They are very catchy. Yes. There are some not too popular facts and figures and quotes. They are not too popular. And there's a way that gets people to think so deeply. There are some quotes like that. I'm not arguing that you can start your essay with them, that when you put them out, the person say, wait a minute, what did she just say? And the person is trying to read. So you're already catching that person's attention. There are some quotes like that. But on most occasions, it's good you take your time to just develop something that you know is going to sell, right? Then link your introduction to your conclusion. It's like you are traveling. There's a beginning to an end. Right from the time you are going to Jos, when you get to the motor park, you tell them you are going to Jos. That's introduction. So right from the introduction, you already know that you are going to Jos, the conclusion, right? So your introduction should in a way link to your conclusion. You get it now. That makes a very strong personal statement. And then your motivation. I think I put something out there. Sorry, I couldn't finish up the slides. I'm so sorry about that. So there are some questions you can write it down but I will still share the complete slide later. So what are some questions that you should answer with your motivation essay? In some application, it will be essay, your motivational essay, your motivation essay. You will not say personal statement. So, but they are quite a bit different. In motivation essay, they are trying to more of understand why us? Why are you applying to us? Why this? Why are you doing this? So it's more of the why. In the personal statement, you have more than that. So they want you to lay more emphasis in the motivation essay on the why. Does it make sense to you? So you want to answer the question, what motivates you? Was it one of your professor that was teaching you a course in class that mentioned something about what you're applying for? And from that time, you got interested. Does it make sense? So what motivates you? Is it that you have heard about an institute at the university in University of Edinburgh that have this profile of developing great scientists in Africa or developing great programs in Africa? Something what motivates you? Does that make sense to you? Then the next thing is, it could be who. Like I've mentioned the other time, it could be who motivates you. So it's just the same question, but I just put it in two phases. It could be somebody motivates you. And some people, I've seen essays, I've reviewed some essays that I've seen them put Professor Odisho Inka is an alumni of my university. And so it's good, yes. There's nothing bad about that. So something needs to motivate you to want to apply. So why are you interested in? Why not the other university? Why our university? Why not the other program? Why our program? There are many scholarships. Why Chevron? Why Commonwealth? Why not MasterCard Fellowship? Why not Erasmus? Right? So why Chevron? Why Commonwealth Scholarship? Does it make sense to you? Then okay, now talking about the past, the things you've done before that was mentioned in your AC, why did you do them? Does it make sense to you? Okay, for instance, what are you studying, Miriam?
Okay, so we're all veterinary students here, veterinary medicine.
You're all veterinary students, beautiful. So now you are veterinary student. Does it make sense? Now you are applying, for instance, to MSc One Health at University of I think University of Edinburgh is doing one. I'm not sure. So one of these universities abroad in UK that are doing that. So that's what you want to apply for. So the question here now is, why did you apply for in the first place? Why did you apply for veterinary medicine, right? And then what is the connection between that and what you're applying for now? Does it make sense to you? So they still want to understand, right? Where are you coming from? What background are you coming from? So what made you to be interested in the well-being of animals? Don't mind me. I may have limited understanding about veterinary medicine, but that's just my summary, right? Yeah, so something like that. So what have you done in the past? You also want to mention what have you, along that line, what have you done in the past? You don't want to tell them about maybe there is a publication you published with your professor or your supervisor. You get it along that line. So you want to mention, you don't want to write an application and you just give that out. No, you sell yourself. So that should be included. What have you done around that? So what are you doing? What are you doing now? What are things you are doing now that has a connection with your motivation for what you want to do now? What you want to do in the future, rather, what you want to apply for. Then the last is, what do you want to do? And that's not just talking about what you want to study. What do you want to do as do it? Okay, apart from even what you want to study, are there other things you are looking forward to doing? And that talks about your career plan. So your career plan comes under this question in your motivation essay. In your personal statement, your career plan may not be too elaborate. You get it? But they may just be popping up here and there. But here you do want to tell them what are your career plan, your short-term, your medium-term, and long-term career plan. And short-term, we mean less than 5 years is usually short-term. Between 5 to 10 years is your medium plan, and above 10 years is your long-term plan. So in 10 years, where do you see yourself, Miriam? Zainab, Usman, where do you see yourself, Adiola, in the next 10 years? That's your medium-term plan. In the next 5 years, where do you see yourself? Okay. And the next 5 years, I see myself having MSc or MPH or whatever you get at this university, or I see myself registered as a fellow of this notable or prestigious association, right? So these are things that could come into your short-term plan or your medium-term plan. Because presently I'm also working on being a fellow of Public Health Association in UK, you get it. So I'm already a member of the Student Association of that. So these are things that I do want to mention in my subsequent applications. Does it make sense to you? So, and that makes it, so it evolves, your career plans evolves. So it comes under this question. And then, like I put here, I think I've mentioned that, what is the connection between all of these things that we've talked about? Is that all right? So I think that brings us to the last slide, general guide to an outstanding application. And I have put here, the first thing you should do when you're applying for anything, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So I expect you, now that you are still an undergrad, get a mentor. If you have not done one, I've given you another assignment. Look at it may not be in your department. Even before I got scholarship to the UK, I already have people, Rachel Bujan, the Director of Student Central, UK, and quite in Marahuba. I have quite a number of them. They were already my mentors. They talk, some of them we've not met face to face, but they've given me leads, they've given me a lot of opportunities. We've presented together at conferences, we've done a lot together. Does it make sense to you? So what I want you to do now as an undergrad, get a mentor. You know what you want, then think about it. Look at the university, go online, search for papers that have been presented by lecturers. Which of them do you have interest in, or is developing interest in you? Walk up to them, make it formal. I mean it, make it formal. Don't just assume. Professor, and they appreciate that. See what that does is, when you walk up to somebody like a professor and you tell the person that you want that person to be your mentor, there's a kind of perception the person has begin to develop about you, that you are a serious-minded person, that you're already thinking about your future career. Does it make sense to you? So in a way, the person will begin to think about, that's not every one of them anyway. I need to say that. But there's a way that an average academia will begin to think about, yeah, no, I should begin to give this person some information. Do you get it now? So that's talking about getting a mentor. Then the second point, and the last point, is research. research about you. Go and conduct more research about yourself. Who are you? And it's very, very important you know yourself. Take your time to find out who you are. What are your interests? What are your hobbies? So people don't even know what their hobbies are. Yeah, so what are your hobbies? What are your interests? What are the skills you think you have? What are the innate abilities you think you have? Take your time to study that. That will really help in putting up the very best of applications. And that's going to differentiate you from every other person. That will help you to think outside the box. So the first point is get a mentor. Get somebody that is going to be like a guide for you, that you can go to anytime. Since I made that mistake in undergrad, I didn't attend even a single conference that has to do with that's close to in my academic space. I never attended one. And I've never, no lecturer ever mentioned it to us in class that this conference we should attend. Can you imagine that? So, but what if you have a mentor and you walked up to a mentor, he can easily call you that there's a conference going on at the University of Ibadan for veterinary students or veterinary association in Nigeria or whatever. You can go along. I've seen that. Now I've seen quite a number of undergrad come around for some of the conferences we have attended, and they come with their lecturers. So in fact, the lecturer could actually go to the extent of saying that you and an MSc student or a PhD student will develop an abstract, or you help a PhD student, and then when she's presenting, you also add one or two things. You already add into your credentials. So you need to get a mentor. So every one of you, that's an assignment. Go and do that. Beyond information, there's an information boost now. There's information everywhere. So it mustn't be your lecturer. Maybe a lecturer at University of Ibadan, maybe a lecturer at United States, maybe a lecturer at United Kingdom or wherever. You get it now. So get a mentor. The second thing I've now mentioned is go and make your research. One, about you. Two, about whatever application you are interested in. It could be scholarship, it could be internship. See, don't just apply without making research. I made those errors too. You want to apply for an internship with WHO, you don't even know anything about WHO. You've not gone on their website, taking the time to really study that agency. You have not done your homework. So make research about you, about whatever you're applying to, and then make research about what you want. So what do you want? You also need to make research about it. And I think that I want to end with that. And I just want to end with this statement, that the only limitation to how much you can achieve in life is you. So I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
Yes, we can hear.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for this very, very wonderful presentation. I would have to commend you greatly, because honestly, I have learned a lot from this very short webinar, and I am very sure everybody that took their time to be here today has learned a lot. As a matter of fact, I will definitely work on getting a mentor after this program, because
I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, I think that is one of the things that I don't have going for me. Like most of the things I do on my own, not with anybody's guidance or anything. But I feel like with the mentor, yeah, I would go very far. And apart from that, everyone here, like I said, I've learned a lot, and I'm very, very grateful for taking your time to be so very explanatory with your presentation, for taking your time to explain in details things that we need. I have no idea on how to write a personal statement, so I've learned from that. I also didn't know the difference between CV and resume. I've learned from that. So, and this is just a little of what I've learned so far. So we would entertain questions now, guys. If you have any questions, you can type them in the chat box, or you can raise your hand and unmute yourself and talk for the next, let's say, 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Guys, does anybody have any question? I'm still waiting for your questions, guys. And well, if you don't ask now, you can always maybe message me later, and I'll try to forward your questions to him to so you get a reply. Then, well, for me, I've gotten so much information. I don't think I really have any question per se. I have written like I think.
Hope it's not information overload. Hope it was not an information overload session.
No, it definitely was not. It wasn't. It was actually fun. Yeah, this is kind of like one of the best webinars I've attended so far. I must be honest. So yeah. Yes.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
Okay. I don't see anybody asking any question. There
And
was
I would, of course, send my email address to you. I want to know if I've sent that to you before now. I've sent that of my organization, so, but maybe I will send my own personal email to you,
okay,
and then
sir.
they can always send questions there. And then
Yes.
my WhatsApp, though I may not be able to respond to most of WhatsApp messages this year, or from early next year, I think I should be able to be responding to our WhatsApp messages.
Okay,
Yeah, I
sir.
think, can you please elaborate the difference between scholarships and internship? Okay, very interesting. I love that. Yeah, so just briefly, scholarships has to do with advancements in academic prowess. So most scholarships sponsors you to advance academically. But what internship does is to give you opportunity to practice or gain experience, work experience that you wouldn't have had in terms of work experience. So that's what internship opportunities gives to you. So the difference between scholarships and internships is that, and scholarships sometimes are embedded in internships. So now there's a very thin line between the two of them now, because some scholarships still involve some iota of internship, because during the scholarship journey, at a point in time, you are going to have an exposure to a kind of experience, maybe for instance in WHO, for instance in the International Federation of Aging, or FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization. So that is internship. And I know quite a number of you already have internship, right? If I think 300 level or 400 level, you have internship experience. So, and during the internship, you discover that you were not, though during my own internship, it was at Naute Teaching Hospital Metabolic Research Lab. We're still doing presentations. In fact, we're still writing, we are still making notes. So as if we're in school, though it paid off. But during internship, it's just expected that it's more of the practical. You are part of the workforce, but the only difference is just that you are an intern. You are learning. So you can still go on Google and do more research. Like I said, I won't give you all the thing. So that's internship. But scholarship majorly has to do with advancement in academic prowess, your academic career. Does it make sense to you? But like I've said, there's a very thin line now. There are quite a number of scholarships that involve a level of internship, and there are quite some internships too that involve scholarship. To get it. So that's that about that. Difference between fully paid scholarship and half. Okay, there are quite a number of half paid. I remember the first time this first scholarship I applied for, that I got a 50% reduction in tuition. That was the University of West of Scotland. That was during my NYSC. And the reduction, the amount I was supposed to pay balance of was still about, I think, £10,000. So actually, yes, there are quite a number of them that are half scholarship or partly sponsored scholarship. So some of those scholarships would cover part of your tuition fee, or some of them will involve full tuition fee covered, but they won't know. You would have to source for your T fare, your or transport fare down to wherever that scholarship would be tenable. Does it make sense to you? And for some of them, so you still have to have a certain amount of money in your account, for instance, to be able to get your visa or whatever. So all they are just doing is just give you the tuition. They are writing off the tuition fee. The tuition fee may be £25,000 or whatever, but you're not going to be paying that. So they are giving you, it's like, we are saying, just come over. It's free. Come here and study free. But they're not telling you that they are covering your living expenses, right? They are not telling you they are covering your TIF here. Those are partly funded scholarship. But a fully sponsored scholarship, everything is covered. Right from visa application till you go and you come back. Everything is sponsored. That's a fully, and there are many of them out there. If you're not on LinkedIn, I encourage you to get on LinkedIn. There are quite a number of my friends. I'm on Commonwealth Scholarship. There are quite a number of my friends that are on different scholarships. So, and they usually post on LinkedIn. You can, my Baba Gideon Milton got both Commonwealth for Masters and PhD, and quite Gideon Adeniyi got Chevening some years ago. And I have quite a number of them. Feromi also got scholarship, Commonwealth. I have a friend too that got modules, what do you call it now? Erasmus. In fact, I have many of them that got Erasmus. So that just make your research. You can't afford your phone. Your phone, you have it, you can do so much. And I believe you know that. So just do your research. Do we say internship is different from number? A moment, please. Do we say internship is different from work experience? Like, can we have a section for internship and then also work? No, except it is being specific. When you're applying for some stuff, they will ask you, they'll among the things that you are expected to put in is your internship experience. Does it make sense? Or your volunteering. Some of them will be specific and they'll tell you volunteering experience. But if they are not specific, your volunteering experience, your internship experience, you can bring them under your work experience. Do you understand? So it now depends on the nature of your volunteering experience. If your volunteering experience is a very long one, for instance, you have a volunteering experience for 1 good year, put that under your work experience, my friend. Yeah. For perhaps even the volunteering experience involves, maybe they give you, you're even given a role. Perhaps you are the social media manager. Do you get it? Or the content creator. My friend, you already have a job. You already have a work experience, rather. You may not be paid. Put that in, and then put in the skills you were able to acquire during that internship and what your contribution was to that internship. Those are things you need to put on your CV. Very short. We're able to recruit or mobilize 1,000 youths from Oyo State as a result of the kind of content I created on our Instagram page twice daily, twice weekly. And we're able to create this hashtag that already has 1,000 followership within 2 months. Wow, they will clap for you. You get it now. So that's a work experience that they are paying people thousands of dollars for in some other places for. But you already have that work experience. It's just that you are not paid. Does it make sense to you? So you can actually include your internship as part of your work experience. Okay, questions are coming in now. Let me see. Do we have a go to your section? Okay, I think I've answered that. Do I have to write different personal statements, motivational essay for different scholars? Yes. Yes. In fact, let me tell you, if you applied for Commonwealth this year scholarship and you didn't make it, next year, don't just throw in this year's essay. Go over that essay again and upgrade it. Do you get it? So for every scholarship, for every school you apply for, and I mentioned a statement when I was comparing Queen Margaret. It was because Queen Margaret University was one of the universities I also applied for. So there are some, you may be finding in some applications that you need to apply to 3 universities, for instance, and they are offering different courses though similar. So you can't put in this personal statement for public health for global health. They are close, but they are not the same. So though there are quite a number of things that is going to be cross-section. So it's going to be crossing each other. There are some things you will be lifting from one essay to the other. Does it make sense to you? But what actually you need to spend your time on as an undergrad is your CV. So anytime I want to apply for anything, let me just tell you what I do. The first thing I do is go to my CV and I open my CV, that Word document. Then I will then check what they are asking for in the essay or whatever they are asking me to fill in. And then I check through my essay, my CV. Oh, what they are asking for is at this point of my CV, then I lift it out. and then I develop it. You know, in my CV, I can't tell the stories behind the achievements. I just put them in one word. But in the essay now, they are asking me to write they are asking me to write 100 words on that particular statement I've written in my CV. So I lift it out and I develop it to 50 words. Do you understand? The second point, I lift it out, I develop it to another 25 words. So like that, before you know it, you have so your CV and the different, because in some applications, they won't ask you for your CV. Yes. In some applications, they will ask you to write essays. So what you will do is your essay would encompass some of the things you already have in your CV. And that's one of the reasons why you should have a very good CV. I think I've answered that question. Must we finish our undergrad study before we apply? No. In fact, there are some scholarships, for instance, even this Commonwealth Scholarship and the Chevron Scholarship. What they just state there is that you should have finished your undergrad studies by this time you will be starting your postgraduate studies. Do you understand? So that's what you should also have in mind. But you don't have to finish your undergrad studies before applying for scholarship. No. Except for some scholarship that will require NYSC. And those are the scholarships that are linked to the federal government of Nigeria. But most of those global scholarships, they are not asking you for any. But I want to advise you, do have this NYSC experience. If you are not above 30, it is very, very important you have it. So what you just do is use your NYSC period to apply. So by the time you are through with your NYSC, the applications that you have made, the result for your applications will have been coming out, and then you can. So we have so many people now that are getting, they are starting their scholarship experience, their academic, their postgraduate experience. Immediately they are done with their NYSC. It's very possible. Do you understand? So it's just about planning. So do I have to write? Okay, I think I've answered that. Must we finish? Okay, I've answered that. Sorry, I'm unable. Do we need to have any publication we want to know? You don't need to. Even though I have a publication, I have one major notebook publication that I have, and I also have some book chapters and some that I put in my application. But you don't have to. I have seen friends that got Commonwealth scholarships, even Chevron and quite not, that don't have any publication at all. So you don't have to have a publication, but just make sure that you are maximizing opportunities that comes your way. Like for instance, the one of the things I expect to go and put to your CV is that you have attended this webinar organized by this association. If you go to your CV, and if you have played a role in organizing this webinar, for instance, I know your president, Miriam, has played a critical. There was another person that communicated to me via email. I'm not sure, I've forgotten his name. So that person should also put in what his role is in this conference, in this webinar. Does that make sense to you? So that's what I think you should pay attention to. You may not have a publication, but you also have many other things that are your strong points. So a reviewer may be interested in publication, but another reviewer may just be interested in volunteering, seeing you volunteer. I say, wow, this girl, I love her. And somebody else is just in, but there are some general things that's just general for all reviewers. The content of your essays, those are the ones you should work more. Take your time to develop the content of your essays, because that is general to everyone. So every other part just has to do with the individual reviewer. So reviewer don't even fancy writing publications that much. Do you understand? So can you share a sample or a template for CV and others? They want me to share. Like people always do. But what anyway, the person that mentored me when I was going to be applying for scholarships and all of these things didn't give a template to me. And he told me why. And I'm going to tell you why. See, what I want you to do, I've said it. Go and make your research. You get it now. And I've just said it, that you can share whatever you have done with me, and I will look over it. What I also do is that, because I don't have all the knowledge. I'm still growing. I have also other mentors that are far, far better than me, that I can also share your CV with, and they can review it even better. So I want to encourage you, can check Bridget Isims. It's one of my connections on LinkedIn, and I think she has been very helpful too. Bridget Isims, you can check out our YouTube profile, our YouTube page. She talks so much about interviews, about CV, so check it out on YouTube. It's going to be very helpful. There are quite a number of them, but I can't remember their name now. You can also you can follow her on LinkedIn. I think you can no longer connect with her. She has exhausted her, but you can follow her on LinkedIn, Bridget Hyacinth. If you are not yet on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. You cannot afford not to be on LinkedIn at this age. Is that all right? So get on LinkedIn and then maximize that platform. There are so many things you can benefit from that platform. So that's just what I won't share this any template with you. Somebody have asked at the point too that I should share what I wrote for my common, but I said no, we don't do that. Most alumni, when you reach out to them, don't share whatever they've written with you. It's a rule that we have imbibed, and so that to preserve your originality and then to help you. So you should come to a time that you will also be invited to come and take a webinar or whatever, and then you'll be able to share with them without even looking at any book, and you are original. Does it make sense to you? So please just do that, and then I think we can work on that. But I think all the things I need to say, I think I've said it in this webinar. So I may not want to share. Sharing the template with you in a way, I think will not really help you that much. If you go on Google now, hello, go on Google now, type in template for CV. You will see countless things. So why should I share with you? So I'm not going to share that. That's very trivial. Is that all right? So just take your time, develop your personal or your own CV, and then you can work on that. So Bridget Hyacinth, I think okay. Bridget Hyacinth. Hyacinth. Where's my phone? Moment. Sorry, let me confirm I don't want to, I won't write blunder. Let me confirm her surname. So if you are on LinkedIn as I speak, you can actually go on LinkedIn and type in Bridget Hyacinth. You see what I'm talking about. So she's someone you do want to follow. A moment. Just some seconds, please. Okay, Bridget. A moment. Okay, yeah, I think I'm right. It's just that I put double T, Bridget Hyacinth, send. So that's her name. Do follow her on LinkedIn, and you'll be glad you did. Okay, so.
All right, sir. I think at this point we can close the curtain. And yes, I think it's actually very good the way you didn't share the CV and the other stuffs with us, because it's kind of like would make people to actually go online and actually do research than if you just actually just drop it there and people just kind of like follow that template. And I am really grateful that you've agreed that anybody interested can actually send their CV to you, and you'll be glad to help us to review it. And it's very, very great. I've had a very wonderful experience. I'm sure everyone here too has had a very wonderful experience.
Yeah, same here.
So at this point, we'll be closing the curtain for this session. And thank you very much, sir, for spending your time with us. To the remaining participants, please.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. To the remaining participants, please stay with us as we have one other speaker that will be joining us soon.
Okay.
And we'll be talking about mental health. And I'll also be dropping a link for attendance so that people can take attendance and we can use it to know who actually qualifies to get our certificate of participation. And like I said before, that
okay.
we'll send you the certificate, and we'll be very glad if you can be one of the speakers, one of the people that can actually sign the certificate. So like when they post it on LinkedIn that they attended this event, they can actually also have something like certificate of participation to also prove that they attended the event. So all right, sir, thank you very much, sir, and do have a lovely day.
Okay,
bye, sir.
And you too. So take care, everyone. Yeah, bye. Bye.
Hey guys, I want to believe that everybody here has learned a lot. Our speaker will be joining us in the next 3 minutes. So please stay with us. It's going to be a very, very short presentation from her because we've actually also used into the time that was allocated for her. So it's not going to be very long. And she's going to be talking to us about mental health, and that will be where we will be closing the curtain on our Ivsa Unilorin Symposium. If you've been with us since the beginning till now, I want to commend you. You're doing very great. And I want to believe that you've learned so far from this symposium, and it has not been a wasted effort. And I understand that we are students, data is very expensive and all. So yeah, I really, really appreciate everybody that is here today. I have sent the attendance link. Please do feel if you are interested in, getting certificates of participation. Like I mentioned at the beginning, you have to have at least three. I've attended at least three of our, okay, we'll make it two. You have to have attended at least 2 to 3 of our sessions to get a certificate. So this counts as one session. Please, when you are filling the form, make sure you mention that it's the session about CV that you attended now. That's the one that we just concluded. So we'll be starting the mental health session in the next 2 minutes. You can stand up, stretch your hands, stretch your legs, get a drink, and the speaker that will be coming to talk to us about mental health should be talking to us about finding a balance among the chaos. So why we picked this topic was majorly because, as veterinary students, we have so much things that are stressing us. We have tests, 1 million tests to write. The test never ends. After test, you start exams, the exams never finish. Then after that, school resumes almost immediately. And for some of us that are also holding other positions in like outside vets, like me now, that is president, I'm holding project manager somewhere. It's also kind of like more work on us because we have to make sure that our academics doesn't suffer, and the positions we are also holding, we try to achieve as much as we can in these positions. And also some of us also are involved in different extracurricular activities, and even if you're not involved in extracurricular activities, basically vet is actually stressful to me anyways. I don't know about you guys, but vet is very, very stressful. It gets frustrating sometimes. People have although Nigerians try to pretend as if no, I'm Nigerian, I cannot commit suicide, blah blah blah. But some of us might have actually found ourselves in situations where we actually feel like just straining the rug and giving up and quitting. And we want to use this medium to kind of like encourage our members to not give up, to keep trying, and try to maintain our mental health. So yeah, she should be joining us anytime soon. I'll send her a quick email now to tell her that we are ready for her, and I'll get our bio ready. She's from an organization called Mentally Aware NG. They are kind of like a very big organization to, when it comes to mental health issues. So yeah, give me a second, please, guys, while I try to sort that out. And if you've not filled your attendance, please do so. I'm really going to be following that attendance strictly. So when we start giving certificates and some people don't get, please fill the attendance if you haven't. Hi, Ma, she has joined us. Thank you so much, Ma, for going to be here. I once again apologize. I'm very, very sorry for, fixing a particular time, then changing it without prior notice and everything. I hope your day has been going well, and we'll start.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes,
Hi.
we can.
Okay.
Thank you so much
I'm trying
for going.
to.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just quickly read your bio. It's a very short one. So Ene Ayegba, see how pretty she looks. She's a mental health advocate with a background in psychology and policy development, with over 4 years of experience in mental health space. She currently works in workplaces and program department of Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative, a not-for-profit championing the end to the stigma associated with mental health and its problems through mass education. Ene is passionate about wellness, self-care, and youth mental health. Thank you very much, Ma, for once again agreeing to be here for this wonderful presentation. And without further ado, okay, please just give me a minute. Okay, we would start. Thank you. The floor is yours, ma'am. I don't know if you can share your screen.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to do that now. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'll be starting now. Okay, so I'm excited to be with you people today. Thank you for inviting Manny. Thank you for creating space in your events to talk about mental health. It's always a good thing to, come together and talk about mental health. So I know you've been having series of other sessions. So I don't know, how have they been?
They've been going well so far. Thank you very much. We just ended one, and the speaker kind of like ran a bit out of where we had difficulties at the start. So that kind of like, caused a delay, and that's why we had to move your session a bit forward. But so far it has been going great and educative. And I'm sure everybody has learned a lot, and we also plan to learn a lot from you too today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So since we're going to be talking about mental health, everybody has mental health. So we are all going to be contributing in one way or the other so that we can just, learn from each other's experiences and make the most out of this session. Okay. So the topic that I was given was basically supposed to address the whole thing that comes with being a student who has so many responsibilities and trying to, find a balance in the midst of all the chaos. So I don't know, does anybody else want to talk about anything that is not on the list that they have to deal with being a student as well? You have to volunteer. If not, I'm going to, be calling names, and I'm sure if we don't like that. So,
Guys, please talk. Oh, this is a free space.
this is a safe space. It's free, and Adeola Adewoye, do you want to tell us anything? Like, is there anything you're dealing with that is not on this list? Is there any extra activity that you have to deal with that is not on this list?
Actually, no, I think this covers almost everything I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, as a student, we have to deal with so many things all at once. It feels like you are dealing with being a full-time student, some of us have part-time jobs. Sometimes you have leadership positions or religious commitments. There's school politics, exams that you have to perform well in, hobbies, relationships, and you still have to find time to sleep. So it's like a lot of things are dragging your attention and you have to give your 100% to all of them. Sometimes it feels like, can I even measure up? Can I do this? Can I, meet up to all these things? And I get the feeling it might feel like chaos. It might feel like you are losing control of, over all these things. And I get how frustrating it might be, or it can be at that point. But the question now is it possible to win at all these things at the same time? Is it possible to, have it all? I think that's my question now. Do you think it's possible to have it all? Zainab, do you think it's possible to have everything, to be a good student, to have a part-time job, to be a leader, and still find time to have a relationship?
Well, I can't really say that it might be possible, but it's going to be really hard. Like, it will be so hard to do everything at the same time. But then we still have to manage, try to manage our time and schedule everything.
Okay, so I've got news. Now, the thing is everybody has to face, these things I listed. But now there's a difference between having to deal with being all those things and having good grades, stable relationships, successful political affiliations, and perfect mental health. It's a different thing when you have to deal with all those things, and it's a different thing when you are excelling at all those things. So what I would say at this point is, yes, it is possible to have all those things. It is possible to have good grades. It's possible to have a stable relationship. But is it possible to have them all at the same time? Well, especially in this climate, I do not think that you can have it all. It's either your mental health is suffering and then you have a good relationship and you have good grades, or something is wrong with your grades, maybe one subject having an issue and then you have good mental health and everything. So what is important is finding out what you really need at that time, prioritizing what your needs are, because there are always going to be many needs. There are always going to be many things that you need to focus on. There are always going to be many things that are going to drag your attention, not just now, but even in the future. So what you need now is to prioritize the things that you feel are important at this time. So sometimes it just feels like this. There's school dragging your attention, and then there's social life, and you're like, oh my God, how do I balance? And school is like, look at me, focus on me, and social life is like, oh, I'm attractive, you should look at me. So sometimes there's just this whole pool going on. So I did a little finding, and I found that research shows that there's a commonality in depression among pharmacy, medical, and vet students. So apparently, I know you've heard that many medical students have higher rates of depression and anxiety. So yes, there is actually, studies that prove that that is true. And then the female gender, family history of depression, and lifestyle such as smoking and high academic loads were, significant predictors for depression. So there are already facts that show that you are more prone to having, these issues compared to other students. So there are studies that show that. And then it is now left to us to use this opportunity or use this information that's available to us to create, a better plan for ourselves. So you already know that, oh, okay, my workload is a lot. I have to, deal with, compared to a student who is probably studying, I don't even know the course to use, maybe let's say a social science course, like maybe let me just use public admin. Like they don't have to probably do experiments, they don't have to go to the lab, they don't have to spend lots of hours. Not like their own course is not also important, but the what's at stake is actually more. So this research shows that, okay, we're actually more prone to having these mental health issues. So what does this mean? It means that we can make more informed decisions and we can make healthier choices, and we can know what is at stake, or what it means for us. So if you already know that, oh, I'm more prone to more stress, I'm more prone to, having more mental health issues because of, the stress I'm exposed to, I need to do better, I need to behave differently, I need to take precautions to prevent, to prevent all these things from happening to me. So now, many times we've heard mental health, not good for my mental health. On social media these days, it's like everybody's talking about mental health. If they take an excuse from work or something, they would say, oh, it's because of my mental health. So what is this mental health that everybody keeps saying, mental health, mental health? It's a state of mind that is characterized by, emotional well-being. And I always say it's just a person's ability to, have good behavioral adjustments, contribute to the society, cope with the daily stresses and demands of life. I think that's even the most important part of mental health, your ability to cope with the ordinary demands and stresses of life. Now, there will always be stresses in life. That's just one thing I feel like we should know. There will always be demands, there will always be stress, there will always be things to do. But a sign, or one important sign of having good mental health, is your ability to cope with all these stresses that come with life. If, for instance, when I mean stresses that come with life, for instance, let's say a normal stress that comes with school life is going to classes. Now, if, for instance, someone is unable to go for classes and unable to, cope in those classes, and it happens like repeatedly every single time, and this person is also unable to contribute meaningfully to the class, contribute meaningfully to their relationships, the person is unable to cope with, stresses of school, it's a sign that, oh, something is wrong somewhere. So no matter where you are in life, like if you are working class person, if you're a student, if you are, in a different stage in life, there will always be demands that are made that you're supposed to fulfill. If you go to the office, you know that, oh, I'm supposed to clock in so time, I'm supposed to do this and do that. That is the normal demand of that job. If you are a student in veterinary science department, you know that the normal demands are going to the lab so time, going to class so time. Those are the normal demands of your department. So a person who has issues with mental health will be unable to cope with those normal demands when other people are trying to thrive in that situation. So that's like an important sign that, you're not thriving, and then there is an issue that we need to look at. And then looking after your mental health can preserve your ability to enjoy life. Like when we talk about enjoying life and enjoying the seasons that you are in your life at that point, taking care of your mental health is a major step in ensuring that you can actually enjoy life. And then this balance that we keep looking for, this whole, oh, I'm trying to balance work and life, I'm trying to balance school and life, I'm trying to balance relationships and life, it's basically us trying to take care of our mental health so that we are healthy enough, or we are capable enough to actually survive the daily demands of a relationship or of school or of, work. So conditions such as stress, depression, and anxiety can all affect mental health and disrupt a person's routine. So for instance, if you are stressed, like I don't know if I've said this before, but most of the issues that we deal with today, most of the things that are wrong with us, is they are all the result of stress. Now, in life, we have different stressors, or we face different stressors. So your lectures could be a stressor for you. Your friends could be a stressor for you. Like a relationship could be anything could be a potential stressor. So long as it is making you feel uncomfortable, it is not working for your mental health, it is a stressor. So when we face stressors like that and we are unable to cope with them, then they lead to, stress. We eventually become stressed. And when stress goes on for a long time, without rest, without any help, you just keep on feeling stressed, eventually you reach the stage of burnout, and then eventually leads to other mental health conditions. So basically, these conditions are what disrupt our mental health and affect our routine. Now, I put knowledge of self in bracket here because I feel like that's a very important part of mental health as well. If you do not know your limits, if you do not know what you can or cannot take, or what you can or you're not capable of doing, you will not be able to know when you are stressed. Like, life lies on a continuum. It's just like physical health. I know you people know a lot about health and everything. I'm just a psychologist. I don't, but health lies on a continuum. So there is healthy before you get to sick. Like a person doesn't just, okay, let me say malaria, for instance. A person doesn't just wake up in the morning. Oh, let me not use malaria, because I think some people wake up with malaria. Let me use a terminal illness, like maybe kidney failure or something. You don't just wake up in the morning and your kidney fails. Like I think it's a continuous process, maybe stage 1, stage 2, and until the end of the stage. So that's how mental health is as well. Mental health lies on a continuum. So you don't just start from being mentally healthy and then go to having depression, or from one day you're mentally healthy, the next day you're diagnosed with schizophrenia. It doesn't work like that. So it moves on a continuum, and this continuum is littered with stress. So a person is fine one day and some person is stressed, does nothing about it, does not rest, does not take care of himself, does not do anything. Oh, let's power through. Work must go on. I must attend that meeting. I must go for class. I must talk to my boyfriend for 3 hours, and then just keeps going like that until third day, fourth day, goes on like that. And until before you know what's happening, the person has maybe a mental health issue. So now it's important that you know yourself, know who you are. Okay, my name is Ene. I know that I cannot take reading for more than 2 hours. Once I read for 2 hours, I need to take a walk. I know that I do not like this kind of behavior around me. So when I'm surrounded by that behavior, I take my leave. That's protecting your mental health. So you don't just wake up one morning and say, oh, I want to protect my mental health, or oh, I want to magically start protecting my mental health. It's in the little things that we do every day. It's not some magical trick or it's not some trick that you just, start practicing all of a sudden. It's something that you develop. As you grow older, as you experience new things, you know what you like, you know what you do not like. It's really important in, taking care of your mental health, so that when you are approached with something that does not suit your person, something that you are not happy with, you quickly say, oh, no, I don't want that. And then you are able to move on. So it's important that we know ourselves, we have knowledge of self, and then we are able to know what we want and what we do not want. So I made this quick list of what I think would help maintain a balance between, school, everything that you have put together, and then your mental health. So first thing I want to say is, I'm not going to bamboozle you with any new information that dropped from the sky and landed on my desk this morning. No, it's not going to come from anywhere. All these things, you've probably heard them before. That's just the truth. There is nothing new on the surface of the earth. Everything that we teach today about mental health, everything that your lecturers teach you, most of the things that you learn, they have already been found out, like they've been found by other people. But the thing is, we often need reminders. We need people to remind us, oh, do this, do that. And maybe these are the new research that has come out on this area that we think would help. So finding a balance, I think the first thing to do is plan ahead, make plans. Most times we make plans for everything. We make plans for reading. We make plans for, attending meeting. Oh, I have a meeting by 2:00. I must make plans to attend that. I have a class by 1 p.m. I must make plans to attend that. But we hardly ever say, oh, I have a plan to sleep. I must make time to sleep. We just say, oh, whenever you're just, sometimes we're not even planning to sleep. Whenever we just feel tired, we just doze off, and with a book on our lap and, our head on the wall, and we just wake up in that position. We don't plan to rest. I know it's hard. Like, honestly, I'm never going to say, oh, be a super student and all of that. I was once a student, so I understand how it is hard to actually make that plan. When you remember, oh, my parents are expecting so thing from me. They're thinking I'm going to graduate with this class of degree. I need to make myself proud, blah, 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 blah. It's always hard, but I'm going to tell you one thing. If your mind decides to quit on you today, if your mind says, oh, I'm not doing it again, all these things you are doing, I'm not interested, I just want to rest. Like, there's nothing you can do until you feel better. So the best thing to do is to create time for relaxation. Like, as much as sometimes we relax, but we don't even create time. It just happens like, oh, anytime, anywhere relaxation just meets me, make I just relax for a day. Like, we don't just make plans to intentionally do these things. And it's just like physical health. I always like to compare the two, because it feels like when you don't compare, people think that mental health exists in a vacuum. It does not exist in a vacuum. It's in us. You know that you cannot feel all right if you don't eat. Even if it's one meal you eat in a day, you know that you cannot feel all right if you don't have at least something to eat. It's the same way your mind cannot feel all right if you don't have time to rest. Like, of course, you don't eat physically, but you have to treat your mind right. So planning ahead shows that you value your time, you value yourself, you value your output, you know yourself, you know your value. So you plan. You don't allow things that are not in your plan to take the space that you should have used resting to do other things. So you have to make a plan. Oh, today I'm going to dedicate 1 hour to just sleeping, or 20 minutes to meditation. And that's the thing. You don't have to dedicate the whole 24 hours. It can be just 15 minutes. You just wake up earlier and then you dedicate 10 minutes to doing nothing, to just existing in your own space, in your own head space. And then you'll be surprised how that 15 minutes that you use for meditation at the start of your day will change your whole day. I'm sure you've probably heard, oh, meditation is great, yoga is great, and you've probably seen it and you think it's all hogwash, but it is not. Because people who have done it will come and tell you the advantages of doing those things. And you might not see it now until you start, but these things are very important for your mind to grow. I don't know, can everybody hear me? I've just been talking and talking and talking. So, okay.
Yes, we can.
All right, so find something you love. Yeah, it might sound like, oh, there's no time. We have to be at the lab, we have to be at class, we have to be this, that. But find something you like to do, and do not allow the stresses of life and vet school take away that thing that you love. Even if, I said before, even if it's just 15 minutes, do it. Find a way to squeeze it in. Okay, it might not be possible to do it in school, maybe because you don't have the equipment, you don't have the resources to do it, but maybe mentally do it. Think about a time when you will be able to do it. These things are not supposed to, like, sometimes it's not possible, and I understand how sometimes it cannot be possible, but your mind can go anywhere. That's just the truth. Your mind can think of anything. Your mind can take you to places where some people describe reading a book as traveling. It's the same way your mind can take you to a future that you don't already have. Like, it's not there yet, but you can actually envision it. And that alone can give you some peace. Oh, you want to be a fashion designer, but you don't have your sewing machine with you in school, and you don't have the time to sew. Okay, draw up some styles that you think would look good on someone, and just keep the book somewhere and just look at it sometimes, and it might bring you some peace and joy. So these things don't have to be impossible. Even if they look like they're impossible, you can find time to actually do something. And okay, have a good sleep routine. Sleep is important. You know more than anybody else what science says about sleep, but unfortunately, people are the ones that will hardly ever sleep. So find a way to sleep. Like, honestly, I cannot emphasize how important sleep is. You might not notice it now because, of course, you are always on the go. But it's important that you find a good sleep routine. And a good sleep routine is not just closing your eyes and sleeping. No, there's something called sleep hygiene. It's just like the way you take care of your body when you're about to go out. You make sure that you have your bath, you make sure that you do all the things that you do to make yourself look good. If you know you've been having issues sleeping, there's actually cause for you to have good sleep hygiene and a good sleep routine that helps you sleep better. So you don't just sleep with all your curtains open. For people that have roommates, it will be hard because, of course, you cannot tell your roommate, please, I want to sleep now. Cover all the doors and close all the curtains. They'll be like, who is this queen of England? I just came here. Please, excuse me. I understand. But then you can create a small cocoon in your own corner. Maybe find a way to do curtains or just use a blanket to cover your head and just make the room warm. Maybe play music or just, make sure that the temperature is, of course, all these things sound very far-fetched because I don't know the conditions that you live in and if you have roommates and everything, but basically just try to ensure that you sleep a good amount. Like, prioritize sleep. Don't just sleep whenever you find the sleep, or whenever the sleep comes, you just sleep. So now lean into your support system. I cannot emphasize this enough because this is a really important point. Your support system makes up a huge part of your mental health and your ability to find a balance. Now, when I talk about support system, I'm not talking about just anybody. I'm talking about people that you can count on to give you good advice, to help you when you feel low, to make you feel better. Because most times you go through things that you just need some comfort. You just need someone you can call without even explaining, and the person already knows how to make you feel better. So it's important to have a good support system. Support system doesn't have to be your family. It can be people that love you. It can be your partner. It can be your friends. It doesn't even have to be made up of a huge number of people. It can be just 2 people, 3 people, 1 person, somebody or people that actually care about you. that go beyond the surface level of relationships that exist these days, but actually they care about your well-being, they care about how you are feeling, they provide support. Because in life, we're going to go through a lot of things. These ones are just what you're going through in this phase. There are other phases to experience. And then when you get to those phases, you also want people that can be in your corner, that can stand up for you, that can give you advice. Sometimes what we think is right for us isn't always the right thing. And then we need people who can tell us, no, what you're thinking about is not going to go well. I think you should do it like that. And that's because they already know you. They know you, they know they've seen your growth in the past, and they can testify to the things that are going to work for you. And then you should also ask for help. We live in a culture of silence, because if you ask for help, it's like, oh, this one doesn't know what she's doing, or this boy is like, he doesn't know how he's doing it. Please, let's not give him that position, because this one is asking for help. It's like, oh, he's not the right person to lead us. Like, when you ask for help in our community, it's seen as a sign of weakness. But for your own sake, it's important to ask for help. You ask for help when you feel overwhelmed. You ask for help when it feels like you do not understand what's going on with your mental health, or when you feel like things are not going well. Like, it's okay to ask for help, especially when you have a good support system as well. Like, going back to support system. So you don't just ask for help from, the whole generation or the whole population. You go to people you have trusted already, and then you ask them for help. When they are unable to help you, you go elsewhere, and then you seek help. But the main thing though is not to stay in silence. Like, if we're to break the culture of silence that we have in this part of the world, we have to start from ourselves. We have to start from our own, from ourselves. Start asking for help. Ask your colleagues for help. Oh, I do not understand this thing. Please explain to me. Better than taking hours of your time trying to understand it yourself when somebody's just there. You don't even know. The person's just there with free knowledge, waiting to share with the world, and you're just, wasting time. So please ask for help. So self-care is also an important part of, finding a balance and taking care of your mental health and staying healthy generally. So I'm sure you've heard about self-care and how much self-care is important to yourself and everything. Self-care is not just about burning candles and taking a bath and taking a walk, because I think when they say self-care, that's what people always think about. Oh, let me burn a candle today and play some Celine Dion and feel all right. No, that's not what self-care is all about. Self-care is telling yourself hard truths. Like, oh, okay, what I did today was just so bad. I'm not going to do this again. It's not who I am. It's not what I want people to think about me. It's not who I want to portray myself to be. It's not even who I think I represent. Like, it's not just what I want to be in my life. I don't want this. Or how I interacted with this person wasn't just all right. I don't want to have that kind of interaction again. Or I don't think I like this. I don't think I like this person. And I think I want to keep my distance from this person. That is self-care. Self-care is anything you do to protect yourself, to take care of yourself. That's self-care. So whatever it is that you think would make you feel better, not at the detriment of anybody else though, like something healthy, something good that makes you feel better about yourself and makes you feel, you can find a balance with school life and everything, feel free to practice. And yeah, at Mani, we have this ultimate self-care guide that we always share for different areas of life. So for physical, you have to move, you can move, eat, sleep. Just make sure that you move your body. Like, don't stay in one position in the library for 8 hours and say you've read all the pages. Like, it just doesn't work. Fine, you might be reading, but like I said, while you're trying to take care of your physical needs, consider your mental needs as well. Consider other parts of your, being. You're not just a physical being. You exist in different dimensions. So you have to consider all those dimensions as you go about your daily activities. So make sure you try to eat balanced meals. As bougie as that sounds, trying to eat balanced meals as a student, you should still try to do that. Like, sleep as well, as I said before. Emotional self-care guide. Understand your feelings, express them, and learn coping mechanisms. I think this part is where many people are actually having issues with, because first of all, we don't even understand our feelings. That's why I mentioned before that knowledge of self is important. When you know yourself, you know your health feelings, you know your positive feelings, you know how you feel when you're sad. Some people don't know how they feel when they're sad. They just feel anything and say, oh, I think I'm sad, or I think I'm angry. While some people, they know that, oh, when they start feeling this headache in their head, in the front part of their head, they already know, oh, I think I'm sad, or I think I'm angry. So you need to understand your feelings, understand how something makes you feel and your reaction to those things. When you understand them and say, oh, the way I reacted today, it seems as if I didn't like this thing, even though it appeared that I liked it, but I know myself, I know that I didn't like that. And when you understand your feelings, it's easier to express them, especially if you're in a relationship. Of course, life is all about relationships. We have relationships with our classmates, we have relationships with our lecturers, with our friends, with our partners, with our parents. Now, to build healthy relationships, we need to understand our feelings and express them well. It's only when you express your feelings well that your partner knows, oh, you are not happy with this, and you should not try it again, or you should not do, or that made them feel uncomfortable. Like, you could be in a relationship and then you keep saying, oh, my partner does not listen to me, but you're not communicating anything. Do you understand? Like, you need to be able to communicate so that they can give you what you need. And that's also a part of finding balance, so that you will not be having issues in maybe your friendships. When you're supposed to be concentrating on an exam that is coming up, you cannot, because you have issues, or you have a heartbreak or a friendship break or something that is just keeping you from concentrating on what your lecturer is telling you. So understand your feelings, express them, and learn coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms are like past questions. I like to call them past questions. So you've experienced things in life, you've coped through them. Believe it or not, you've coped somehow, whether it's positive or negative, you've coped. You failed in a course and you are here today. You coped, somehow you coped. So some people use positive coping mechanisms. Some people use negative coping mechanisms. Oh, I failed though. Okay, what's the next step? Let me read hard, try to make it work, and just continue to the next class. Some people use negative coping mechanisms. Oh, let me go and drink my sorrows away. Something must kill a man. I cannot come and die. Or like all those kind of things. Those are negative coping mechanisms. But the person shall cope through that situation. So the important thing to learn is the positive coping mechanisms. How did I cope through a failure? Now I'm failing in a project I started. How am I going to cope through that failure again? So when you learn coping mechanisms that are positive for one experience, you are able to apply it to another experience. So it just goes on and on and on. It's your life, and you have to find a way to create hacks. Like, you know, the way they show cleaning hacks on YouTube and everything. Like, you need to create hacks for your life as well, because life is stressful. If I'm even going to tell you the truth, life is so stressful. But what makes it easier, what makes it interesting, is your ability to create hacks, to create tips and tricks that make you progress over time. And now practical, like, have chores that you do, have your hobbies, organize your closet, organize your books, do something that makes you feel like you are, making progress. Sometimes you feel like you're in a rut, like you are just in a stagnant position. Oh, nothing is looking up. My studies are looking like they are boring. My relationship has been on for 5 years. It's so boring. Everything is just boring. Others are not coming in for my business. What can I even do to make my life feel interesting? Arrange your clothes. When you arrange your clothes, you feel like you accomplished something, and then you can start thinking afresh, or just arrange something, or feel like you've organized something. You feel like you've accomplished something, and then you can go on to other things in life. Spiritual, choose a belief. If you're going to be a Christian, a Muslim, any belief you want to choose one, meditate. This is what we create a practice, and then just try to move with it. People say that when they believe in a higher power, when they meditate, it makes them feel at peace. And a lot of people agree to that. So if that is what you subscribe to, you can do that as well. So as I said before, support system, create boundaries. Boundaries are important. I don't even know how to overemphasize or emphasize what boundaries are. But if you want to live a life on your own terms, and a life that you are happy with, you have to learn how to create boundaries, because a lot of people do not have boundaries, and it's like anything goes. Oh, how far? Can you be here tomorrow? I'm there already. Can you help me do this thing? Shebi is that thing. I can't do it for you now. Like, They don't have any boundaries. Guy, can I come to your room? I just need one small. Oh, come. Can you please go? Like, a lot of people don't have boundaries, and it's understandable because in our culture, like I said before, our culture is responsible for a lot of things. Our culture is one of it's a communal culture. It's one that allows you to share, overshare, share too much information, allow people to depend on you. So of course, our families at home were like 30 children, and then everybody's just in each other's spaces, and then it's just hard to create personal space. But it is important in this time and age in generation, you need to learn how to be clear about boundaries. What don't you like? It's important to make that clear in your relationships, in your school life, in your classroom, whatever. Oh, I don't like it when you do this. Please let everybody know that. Not that today you come and say, I don't like this. I don't like it when you do this. Tomorrow you not come and say, oh, I like it small. Tomorrow you not come and say, oh, I don't think I like it again. You're not confusing everybody and like, what's wrong with this girl? Please let us know what you want and let's just move from there. So please learn to create boundaries. Learn to let your no be no, let your yes be yes. Let your stand be clear. If you are against something, be clear about it. If you are for something, be clear about it. Don't be a shady person. Just be somebody that has set boundaries and ensure that people respect them. If somebody doesn't respect them, call them back and say, oh, I said this yesterday, I still maintain that stand today, and I think everybody should respect that for me. And then set goals for school. Of course, I don't need to tell you. Set goals for yourself. Set short-term goals. Like, it's important to set short-term goals. And I say this with all like regret, because I think when I was in school, I was setting long-term goals a lot, because I was like, oh, when I graduate, I want to work with WHO, I want to do this, I want to build this sort of, and it was like so interesting, and yeah, it was like keeping me going. But the short-term goals I should have set, I didn't really set them. And then it was not until I knew about, like, until I finished, I was able to now like look back and think, oh, it would have probably been better to set short-term goals, like, oh, for this semester, I want this. I want to be able to achieve this. And then just keep to it. Short-term goals are more beneficial because it's okay to have long-term goals. Don't get me wrong. Have long-term goals, have mid-term goals, have short-term goals. Goals that you can achieve fast, get your serotonin levels up, have a sense of accomplishment, and then go to the next goal. Like goals that help you, short-term goals keep you on track. Like you feel more accomplished. And I say this all the time. A sense of accomplishment is like a drug. It gives you the boost that you need to do other tasks. So when you set a short-term goal, and then you are able to achieve that short-term goal, and then you move to the next short-term goal, before you know what's happening, all those short-term goals culminate to your long-term goal. Before you know what's happening, you don't have to work too hard for that long-term goal, because all those short-term goals, we'll put them together, and then it's like, oh, this is a trick or a hack to your long-term goal. So short-term goals are really, really important. And then work smart. Yeah, it's important to work hard. Hard work is the bane of our existence as a society. We always emphasize hard work, when ultimately it is the smart workers that actually get the most out of everything. So find out what it means to work smart in your field. I'm not a vet student, so I don't really know what working smart in your field is. But I'm sure there's a way to work smart. There's always a way to work smart. So find out things that have worked in the past, things that have not worked, and then just find a way to make sure that you are working smart. Next. Okay, so overcoming fear, stress, and succeeding in vet school. We're almost done, don't worry. So another study revealed that poor health and safety training practices and increased exposure of students to a wide range of hazards, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think I wrote this right though. Please remind me to send it to you so that you can read it properly. But basically what he was saying is that, I don't know, can everybody still hear me? So what he was saying is that there are so many disadvantages or so many issues that exposure that you people have to deal with in your field, and then it could lead to, like, poor health and safety training, and just generally poor, like the exposure to all these things is just generally bad. That's what this study was trying to say, and it could lead to other issues. So therefore, development of mitigation programs was encouraged, blah, blah, blah. So already, that there are risks attached to your field of study. And this is enough to even cause fear. Like, this is enough to cause fear and stress and everything. So how do you deal with all these things and, just come out with a good grade, a good relationship, a good, good mental health, everything just good? How do you succeed even when you feel tired, you feel stressed and everything? So first, it's not just in your head. That's just what I want to tell. I want to let you know it's not just in your head. It is hard work. It is hard work. If anybody says it's easy, just look at them and tell them, please, you know what you're saying, that's down. Thank you. Like, this is not just in your head. It is hard work. And you know this already. Nobody even needs to tell you how hard it is. And then you already know that there are many stressors. There are many stressors that come with being a student of veterinary medicine. And then being in school, there are so many stressors that come. You already know this. So I just want you to calm down and know that it is not just in your head. It actually exists. This stress exists. This hard work exists. Now, the biggest thing to know is that it is possible. It's possible to have good grades. It's possible to have a good relationship. It's possible to have good mental health. It's possible to be the best veterinary veterinary doctors in Nigeria. I think I got that right. So it's possible. It is so possible. That's like the biggest thing I don't want you to forget. No matter what the stress is, no matter what the situation is, no matter what anything feels like, it feels like it's not going to end. It feels like you are caught, you are stretched very thin, and then you don't think you're going to survive. I just need you to know that it is possible. And some extra tips to help you cope. Your mindset is really, really important. Like I said before, if your mind decides to quit on you today and says, oh, I'm not interested in anything you're saying, I'm not interested in anything, I don't want to do anything, you'll be left with no choice but to just relax. So your mind is very important. When you are faced with thoughts that are negative, like thoughts, maybe you're about to do something and your mind is like, maybe I did that thing yesterday that did not work. You want to try this one again. Are you sure it's going to work? Like, you have to challenge those thoughts. Like, you have to be able to know what is true, what is false, and what is just negative self-talk. Like, you have to be able to differentiate between positive and negative self-talk and what is useful and healthy for you. So if your mind is telling you something and you know that, you ask yourself, what are the facts? Where are the facts here? Okay, your mind is telling you, I don't think you can do this thing. No, don't accept that position. No. If you accept it now and everything should flop, they'll say it's you that caused it. Like, now ask yourself, what are the facts? What did I do before that could lead to this kind of thought? Did I try something and it failed? Why did it fail? What are the like, try to examine your past failures, and if actually there's a reason, there's an authentic reason why you think you shouldn't be in that position, then you should actually think of that and then try to fix it. But if you examine your thoughts and you see that there's nothing there, you've actually aced some previous tasks, you've done well, you've trained yourself to this point. It's like, what's not the point of having negative thoughts? You just have to course correct and then go after what you want anyways. Now, time management is important. Like, I use the Pomodoro app. Like, you just have an app where you set a timer for any amount of time and then go about your work. When the timer rings, you know it's time to rest and time to like have a break and stuff. So you just have to find a way to manage your time, plan ahead, have a timetable. Accountability is important. Your support system should hold you accountable. You should hold yourself accountable as well. You should find a way to make sure that you are doing the things you want to be doing at every single time. So it is really up to you. Like I said before, your life is, you're the captain of your life. If you decide whatever you want, of course, fine, we're still under our parents, some of us, who provide for us and they decide what we do sometimes. But most of all these things, they are a thing of the mind. You don't need anybody's permission to control your own mind. Sometimes, like, of course, some of our parents have a way of controlling our minds, but these things, such as controlling your negative self-thought or your positive thoughts as well, there are things that you can just do by yourself. So find a way to hold yourself accountable. Think of your dreams and your goals and everything, and just find a way to say, oh, this is what I want, and I'm going to keep moving on this path until I get to my goal. Now, regular check-ins. Treat yourself like a VIP client. Like, I tell myself sometimes, the advice I give to my clients sometimes is like, why can't I just follow this advice? It would be much easier for my life, but it's always hard. Like, I say for your services, treat me like a client. Now, treat yourself like that. Will you check on them? Check on them every time. Make sure that they're feeling okay. Check on yourself. Like, you don't have to postpone enjoyment. You don't have to postpone things that make you happy. If you know that something is going to make you feel good about yourself, it might be expensive, but find a way to make it cheap. Like I said before, you can go on trips in your mind. You can do things in your mind, but find a way to make sure that you check in with yourself every day. Okay, even if it's hard to do that every day because you're a student, find a way to do it at least every week. Okay, Zainab, how did I feel throughout this week? What are the things that made me happy? These things sound like, oh, they're extra work, but trust me, if you regularly check in on yourself, you will track your progress, number one. You'll be able to track your failures, and tracking failures is as important as tracking your progress because your failures are as important as your successes. In fact, you learn more from your failures than you would from your success. Success will make you feel like, oh, anything is possible. But when you see the mistakes you made, there's no greater self-critic. There's no greater critic for you than yourself. Criticize yourself, check in on yourself. What can I do better? What did I do badly before? How can I improve? What should I work on? All those kind of things just make you into a better person, such that you're able to manage yourself, manage your relationships, manage your work, your school life, and everything just moves on and you become a well-balanced adult. So I think this is the end, but let's check. Okay, it's not the end. Wow. Okay, so now you can see the now and the small space in the future. You see how everything makes up the present. Everything that seems so big, like, oh my God, everything is so big. There is so much work to do in school. There's so much. Look at the small thing here. It's just very, very small. And future is like a huge part of your life that has so many other like experiences that are going to come. You have so many experiences you need to face, and then learning is a continuous process. You keep learning and learning and learning and learning. And the thing is that everything else in the future is going to depend on your past experiences. Like I said before, there is nothing new under the sun, or how do they say? There's nothing new on earth. Like everything is just recycled for us. Like most experiences, somebody else has had it before. Most likely we faced it before in a different situation. So that's why your future self will be depending on your past experiences. So how you relate with yourself now and others, how you deal with your experiences now will determine how most likely you're going to deal with future experiences. So now is the time to learn new skills. It's the time to learn balance. It's the time to take care of yourself so that your future self will have, a good past to refer to. So we're going to do like a short exercise and then everybody can go back to their Saturdays. I'm just trying to, wrap up. So, okay, before we get into this, I want to be sure that everybody's hearing me, or everybody's here, or everybody's, active. I'm not looking at people's names. So, are we here? Are we together? Please, if Ivsa Unilorin president should not reply, other people should reply. Thank
Yes.
you.
Together.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's do this one. So, Ronke, okay, wait, just two people, don't be scared. So, Ronke is a first year student. Oh, let me not read it. Please, someone should volunteer to read it. Thank you.
Okay.
Ivsa Unilorin president.
Ronke is a fourth year.
Okay.
Of veterinary medicine at Unilorin. She's the secretary of the Students Association, choir mistress at her fellowship, food blogger, and assistant course rep for her class. Ronke is also in a 3-year long distance relationship and has a sick mother who she has to call daily. She has exams coming up in 2 weeks, and she suddenly starts to cry because she's worried she won't make good grades and secure a scholarship. What suggestions do you have to help her?
Yep. So everybody's going to give Ronke one suggestion. Like, how many are in this call? Okay, 11. So let's go.
Hi. So I want to just mention something quickly. You guys can either unmute yourself to talk and give your suggestions, or you can type it in the chat box in case you say your background is kind of like noisy. Because so yeah, guys, we're waiting for your suggestions, please.
Yeah, that's sweet voice. Please let's suggest. Thank you. I heard Unilorin students
Well,
are very smart. Please, let's do this.
well, since Runke is about to start her exams, I feel she should kind of relax a little bit and not try to do every thing at once. She should maybe stop doing some things for now, like maybe the food blogging or the choir mistress. I'm not saying she should stop them finally, just for the exam period. And she should also not pressure herself into reading throughout for the next 2 weeks. She should create a timetable for herself. I mean, a reading timetable for herself, so that she can include all her courses. I don't really know if you understand what I'm saying, but she should have a timetable whereby she's reading. It's not as if she's just reading blindly and end up not reading some courses or overlooking some courses. Then calling sick mother daily, she can just do that. Maybe set an alarm to maybe very early in the morning before she starts her daily business or her daily activities. She can just call her mother, so that one will be out of the way that way. And she should just relax, eat good food, especially during exam period, so as to and take a lot of food so as to manage the stress, because exam is really stressful. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you, Sakina. Does anyone else want to go?
Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Good
Hi.
afternoon. Yeah, this is Toby.
Hi, Toby.
This is my suggestion for Ronke's case. Veterinary medicine has taught us that, in fact, 2 weeks is too much to prepare for an exam. So what I would advise Ronke is that she should not be scared. She should just calm down. She should calm down. She should be at peace. Because if you are scared of anything, if you are worried, then failure is really by God's grace that you not fail. So what Ronke should do is that she should concentrate on academics. She should give her energy to academics. Some things are not really demanding. I'm seeing some of her what she does. Some things are not like, they don't need urgent attention. That means that what she doesn't need to deliver immediately, some of those things. So she prioritize her activities, prioritize her timing, and set how many hours she will need to read, how many hours she need to attend to some necessary or important things. And if there are urgent things, then she will need to, what I'm saying here is that what is urgent for her to do right now is to read her book, her academics, and also to pay attention to her mother who is sick in the hospital. And the other things are important things, so she can prioritize it when the right time comes for it. Like now, I've been a blogger, I've been student secretary. I don't think that she'll need to be working every day to make sure she does that. She can just, if there's a work to do, she can set the timing of the time that she'll do the work. Choir mistress, I don't think it's every time they'll be going to church for rehearsal. There's a time for it, so she can just set the timing. Right now, what is more urgent is to read her book and to make sure her mom is doing fine. She should not be worried, and she can do it. She can place it in days, like today, tomorrow, next tomorrow. And after a while, she'll see that she has covered everything, both the urgent needs and the important ones, and those ones that are not even necessary.
All right, sounds cool. Thank you. Someone in chat says she should put some things on hold. Ronke should take each day at a time. Yeah, Ronke should do that. And then I would advise Ronke to schedule her time to make sure she fulfills the most important things for for the meantime and try as much as possible to rest. I agree. Ronke would listen to all this. I hope she does, though. She's in your class. So you said something, Oluwatobi. You said veterinary school has taught you some things. What else has veterinary school taught you? Like anybody else can answer.
Thank you. Good answer.
Well, veterinary school, apart from knowing to manage your time, it has really taught us that you really have to have a plan B, like have an alternative plan, because most times things don't go the way you want it to go. So you just have to have an alternative plan to fall back on, so as just to have a hold of yourself, because it's really, really crazy out there. Sorry for the word, but
it's fine. Okay. Are you all in one class, or is like a combination of different classes? You can answer our presidents.
Yeah, we're actually in like different classes, but we are all veterinary students anyway. So yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So someone said school has taught us to be up for anything, so you won't be shocked. Yes, you won't be shocked. Yes, I think everybody that has gone through school would agree with that. Thank you for indulging me, guys. So the last person here, who's going to read it for us? Oh yeah, now someone should read it so that we can.
Well, since I guess I can read it again then, since nobody's coming up.
Okay.
Taju is a first-class student who has been preparing hard for his exam that holds in 2 weeks. Although he has attended classes and has kept a good study timetable, he is worried because it is his final exams and the semester was really difficult. His parents keep reminding him to perform well in these exams so he can win all the prizes at convocation and a scholarship to the UK. He keeps panicking as the exam draws near and comes to you for advice. What do you tell him?
Taju is probably your president, but no, not this one. No, like it's probably a president's material. So let's advise Taju.
Well, first of all, Tajo has to take time to relax and not put the pressure on himself. He truthfully doesn't really have to win all the prizes at the convocation.
Are you sure?
Really, to get a scholarship to the UK, it doesn't really have to win all the prizes, and it just have to make sure that it's okay, even if it doesn't win all the prizes, because the fact that his mom is telling him he has to do this, has to do that, is already a lot of pressure on its own, now adding school stress. So he just have to take it easy, make sure that he reads, definitely have a timetable, put in his best efforts, then pray to God, I guess, so he can win, because every other person too will be trying to win. So that pressure is already there. So he has to just be calm about it, read as much as he can, have a timetable, schedule his activities, and then pray to God.
Nice.
Just not putting pressure on himself, because this is totally pressure on him, his mom. Then he can actually talk to his parents, like, okay, fine, like what if, because most times we think we are the best in this course, or maybe I got the highest mark in this course, I'm the best, and then during the results you just find out that someone is actually really doing better than you. So maybe you should try to talk to his parent that I'm not the only one in this class, every other person is competing, but then I'll try my best. Like, you find a way of talking to his parents so that the prayer can subsidize, and so that he can finally focus on his exams. If his mind is clear and he doesn't have anything bothering him, people tend to do their best in that period. So I think that's just the best for him.
All right. Anybody else want to give Taju an advice? A piece of advice, rather.
Okay, so well, Yeah, like Sekina said, he can actually like speak to his parents and tell them that the pressure they are putting on him is kind of like too much. But we all know that some Nigerian parents don't listen to what you have to say. So basically, me, I would just suggest him to kind of like ignore what his parents are saying, and that will kind of like lessen the pressure on him. And since he has actually been working hard, then he should just keep doing what he has been doing. I mean, for him to have gotten to final year and for him to be in first class, that means is like good. So he should just continue doing what he has been doing, that has been working for him in the past. Pray, have faith, rest, and don't worry about the rest. Worrying just kills, to be honest. So yeah, that's my own opinion.
So Oyarinde said earlier that it has taught us to be proactive for what he learned in vet school. And then Adela said, I would tell him to calm down first. He has been able to do it this far, so he sure can do it again. He also should talk to his God and remember to breathe. I would also suggest he blocks off the pressure energy from home. He could block them very well because I know that Nigerian parents can be, honestly, yeah, Nigerian parents are a huge pressure on their own. So I think those are the two examples I wrote. I think the only thing I'm going to say about the two of them, because you guys already gave like great suggestions and everything, is like the common denominator is pressure from home, and then the worry over the things that are like in the future, exams. And then the truth is we cannot always control all these things. So my tip here is focus on what you can control. What can you control? Studying. What can you control? Taking care of your physical and mental health. Those are the things that are within your locus of control. So you should focus on that instead of focusing on an exam that you're not going to set the questions, you're not going to mark it, you're not going to have anything to do with it apart from writing it. So focus on the parts that you can actually control, the parts that you have a say over, and just do that. So I think Zainab said, I would advise Taju to stop panicking because of a lot of pressure from his parents. Too much pressure would lead to not knowing what to do at all and ending up failing the exams. That's right. So he should try as much as possible to relax and also put everything into God's hand, because it's really important. You should just be who he has always been. I agree with that as well. So thank you all for your contributions to those two people. And okay. So my final thoughts, somebody else said something. Please send the link. Oh, okay, that's not for me. So someone said, okay, last thing I'm just going to say about this is it's for life. Like, you don't find a balance and that's all. You don't find a balance once. You don't find a balance and say, oh, I found a balance, let me forget about it and just move on. Finding a balance is a lifelong quest. You find a balance today, you think you have a balance today, something else happens tomorrow, you get married, and then you have to readjust, find another balance. You find a balance today, something else happens, you graduate, you start working. What do you do again? You adjust and find another balance. So finding a balance is a lifelong quest. You keep trying until you find what works in that moment. Life is fleeting. Life can change at any time. Today you are in first year, tomorrow you're in second year, next tomorrow you are doing your NYSC. Finding a balance is something you always have to do. And I think balance is a myth. I'm just going to be honest and tell you, balance is a myth. It's not something people keep chasing and say, oh, I'm looking for work-life balance. I'm looking for work-life balance. You keep hearing this on social media, I'm looking for work-life balance. Sometimes you don't get 50-50. Sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 70-30, sometimes it's 40-60. What is important is you being comfortable in whatever form or shape it is and making it work for you. So make sure that whatever it is, whatever pressures are coming from work, whatever pressures are coming from school, whatever pressures are coming from home, you center yourself. Make sure that you are fine. And then make sure that you follow all the steps like I already talked about earlier. And make sure that you in the center, you are doing okay. Even if they give you 10 tests tomorrow, you cannot control those tests coming in. You can only control your reaction to them. You can only control yourself. So just make sure that you listen to your body, listen to your mind, you find the answers there. So thank you all so much for staying on with me and listening to my talk and everything. And I hope you all find a way to apply all of this and have an amazing weekend. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Ma. for sparing us your weekend and, giving us this very, very enlightening presentation and talk with us. Really, while I was like trying to decide topics for each of these webinars, right? I kind of like wanted things that, our members would actually tend to gain a lot from. And veterinary medicine, like, for we that were studying it, and for somebody like me, I'm in my final year, and it's a 6 years course, so I've been through 100 level to 600 level, so I kind of like have experience of each classes, and truly there's no class that does not have its own stress. So I notice, or I know that a lot of us, tend, and people along the way, some people tend to have carryovers, and yes, please, we'll definitely entertain your questions, and you can drop them in the chat box. So people tend to, some people have carryovers which cause them emotional trauma. Some people carry up some other activities like extracurricular, and it's like very hard for them to cope with school, cope with this, and these days actually mental health is something that it's actually getting the audience that it actually deserves, and it was really, really wonderful for you to kind of like talk to us about it. And I'm sure everybody here has learned a lot. I have learned a lot. Honestly, most of the time I'm always like doing one thing or the other. I'm like, oh, okay, I've not yet sent this email, or I have a test tomorrow, I've not yet read. So most of the time I just find myself falling asleep.
Is that you, Ronke?
So I end up I honestly I have no sleep routine at all. I fall asleep with the phone in my hand. Like literally, it's like maybe my sister that kind of like turns off my data for me. And even I wake up the next morning, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do this. And I start all over again. And well, that's me. So there are some other people that, maybe their own problem is like, okay, they have to kind of like cope with so many books to read. Oh, we have a lot of books to read. You can see a lecture dropping like 500 and something slides, and it's like very hard and everything. So this has been very wonderful, and I'm sure each of us has actually picked up some tips and life hacks that would help us moving forward. So guys, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. If not, we would start rounding up. You can unmute yourself and ask your questions, please. Hello? Anybody?
It's okay if there are no questions. This talk was really good. I'm proud.
Yeah,
thank you also.
Honestly, it was very, very interesting, and I learned a lot, really. So
all right. Thank you. I hope you guys have a good weekend and everything. So
yeah, you too. And if you have any questions that you haven't asked now, you can always like message me between today and maybe tomorrow, and I'll try to kind of like forward it to our speaker, who would give us a very lovely reply, right?
yes, I will.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to have to leave now. So
all right,
bye guys.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we are left with how many participants? I'm dropping the attendance. Don't go yet though, please guys. I'm dropping the attendance for this section that we just completed, and please try to make sure you fill it before leaving, please, I beg you, so that we will not have a situation of I didn't get attendance, and so just give me 1 second to get the link. Oh God, I'm so hungry. I hope we all learned something, really. And I really want to thank everybody that has been here since morning. Really, I think we've spent close to 2 hours on this symposium. And, if I've dropped the link. So if you've been able to, spare your weekend to attend this particular webinar, I am extremely honored and grateful for your time, for your efforts. And I hope that as you're leaving with having learned something new. something, you've been able to pick up one or two things from each of our speakers, and you're going to make use of it. And I also want to point out that there's something that both speakers actually had said that was in common, considering that they didn't even talk about the same thing. So both of them mentioned having short-term goals, mid-term goals, and life-term goals. And I'll just leave you guys with trying to set, and this like ending of the year, everybody creates new year resolutions. So even if you're not creating new year resolutions, you can start making plans and goals for what you want to achieve in the next 1 year, next year, what you want to achieve in the next 5 years, what you want to achieve in the next 10 years. And really it helps, honestly, because like for me, I kind of like made the goal that, okay, these are the list of things I want to do when I become Ivsa Unilori's president. And so far I've been able to achieve most of them. And the ones I've not been able to achieve, I hope to achieve it before I finished. But apart from just the Ivsa president's position, I kind of like try to make goals, and try to work towards them. It kind of like gives you purpose in life. Me, I'm just saying my own now. So it gives you purpose in life, and hopefully we can all one day attain whatever we hope to achieve in life. All right, guys, I don't know if everybody has filled the link, but I'll be ending the meeting now. Please, before I end the meeting, can you guys like turn on your cameras for like 1 minute so I can just take a screenshot? Please, I'm begging you, please. I'm hungry, please. God, I just remembered I'm recording this session. It's not okay. Oh, God, let me just stop the recording now.